it's correct to say that giving advice should be licensed. But I don't think that enforcing is practical. I think that the bigger problem is not the influencer. The bigger problem is the scammers. Okay, the scammers will scam money much faster. So I would think that is how do we then root out these fraudster or scammers first.
So now we broaden the scope a little bit. There is this stigma when you ask any Tom, Dick and Harry on the street that what do you think about finance content producers? Usually it is negative because there's so many rug pulls. You got your hot tour girl doing nonsense on the internet, right? So what is your view in general of other people in the same industry in terms of social impact? Like, should we have more finance influencers? Or should we just work on cleaning the current area? Like, more people should do it out of passion instead of chasing the bag of gold.
There are always good ships and bad ships in every industry.
Correct.
Right? So you cannot totally eradicate it.
Right.
Okay. I think when it comes to finance influencer, they get more stick.
Right.
Because the wins and losses are very clear.
Okay.
Whereas if you push a product,
right,
sometimes it may work, sometimes it doesn't work, but you just feel that it's just a product that doesn't work for me. You won't go and blame other people, right? Unless it causes illness.
Yep.
So I would say that finance get a bit more of that stick more than the others,
right?
Because of very clear win and losses. Outcome is very clear. I also agree that there are a lot of more irresponsible influencers.
Right.
Okay, they just want to sensationalize,
right?
Because when you do that, your videos will do better.
Correct.
Right? Because for fame, for whatever reasons, they want to do that. But rather than think in terms of whether it is helpful from the investor's point of view. So I think definitely those kind of behavior is bad. But there are good influencers as well, that they are responsible. And it's more like giving the audience a view.
Right.
And the view can be right or wrong, right? But at the end of the day, you do want to hear different views.
Right.
Otherwise, if there's always one view about a particular investment, and it cannot be the total truth one, because everything there's definitely be pros and cons. So having different viewpoints will expand the perspective of the investors.
Right.
And sometimes the investor, right, may not think about that. But because he watched that video of that influencer, he made a very good valid point. Okay, so that's the purpose of these videos, is to increase the perspective. Is to let people know that they need to do research, but most people are lazy to do research. So there's this video that's ready for you, right? So you watch, but it's not asking you to take a particular action, but it's to help you understand so that you can make a more informed decision.
Right.
And I do think that this is important because, again, traditional news, finance news, will not give you all these views.
Right.
They are not op-eds. They are typically factual reporting.
Yep.
Correct? Yeah, they may interview some of a few professionals here and there to give some views, but it's very shallow, selected points into one article. There's not much concrete built up to those points. So I would say that this definitely in investing, there is a lot of room to improve. We talk about IR, investor relations. Right? In the US, investor relations is a lot stronger.
Right.
Investor relations in Asia is weaker. A lot of taukees, they won't really care about the shareholders or engaging the investors, right? So they feel that I run my own business, that's my business. But they don't understand that if you are listed companies and you have shareholders that are public, you have to engage them.
Right.
And there is this info gap again. Okay, so that's where I think the influencers can plug that gap to help them understand these companies.
Provide more kind of bite-sized information for our viewers to see. Then how about influencers that, financial influencers that create videos but without working in finance professionally or don't have a professional finance background? What's your take on it?
I don't have finance professional background. I do pass my licensing exams, but I studied engineering and I've never worked in finance until I joined iFAST. Right, officially, right? So I would say that as long as the person has been investing, right, it's either you acquire it academically or you acquire it based on experience. Right? There's always these two paths, right? I think that as long as you have either one, it's fine. Okay, and in fact, I would think that the practical experience is more important.
Right.
If you want me to compare, okay? The reason is because a lot of the textbook stuff doesn't always work in real life.
Okay.
A lot of theories don't work in real life because in theory, when they teach, they need to give you very perfect scenarios, perfect condition, right? And the questions they give you is also that is known. But in the real world, a lot of things are unknown. A lot of parameters are unknown, right? So it's the experience or the practical aspect of it that actually adds more value to the investor. Okay, like in the question, one example, next year the company earnings per share is $1.
Right.
Right. In the real world, come on, next year earnings is $1 earnings per share. Who knows? Even the management will know. They can give guidance, but they may miss or they may over exceed it. Nobody knows. So a lot of these parameters are not known. Okay, so I would think that to go back to that question is that experience do counts, right? Influencer with experience in investing can add value.
So the rationale of why some people would prefer educated or academic path finance people would be that they have learned of the regulations of what can and cannot be done, and what is considered ethical or non-ethical. So recently there's a article on Straits Times basically about like, you know, influencers that have, I would say, that are going to influence people should be like, you know, licensed and regulated so that you don't ensure like fake news don't come out lah. What is your viewpoint on enforcing I would say mandatory accreditation before you can begin your influencer journey?
I think it'll be a very difficult enforcement,
right,
if the government decide to do so. Right. First of all, online expression, online platform is anybody can do it. Anybody can produce content.
Yep.
Right. And if you want to add a layer of this compliance, right, you have to think about execution. It's not easy. Okay, are you going to prosecute every influencer that's out there?
Yeah, no.
Correct. It's not really practical in that sense. And then on the other hand, you talk about you want to rejuvenate the Singapore stock market. And if you clamp down a lot of these voices, there are less people talking about investing stuff. How are you going to get people more interested in investing?
Right.
Right. They should be together, right?
Right.
So if more people talk about investing, then there could be a chance that people are more likely to invest. Okay, so I think that I don't think the government will enforce it that way. It's correct to say that giving advice should be licensed because that's under the Act,
correct,
the Advisor Act in our Singapore law, right? You cannot get away with that.
Yep.
Okay, but I don't think that enforcing is practical.
Right.
Okay, that is where I'm coming from. I think that the bigger problem is not the influencer. The bigger problem is the scammers.
Right.
That we talked about just now.
Correct.
Okay, the scammers will scam money much faster.
Okay.
Much faster. Okay. So I would think that is how do we then root out these fraudster or scammers first. Right? That enforcement already is very hard.
Yeah.
These scammers are probably overseas. It's not even under the Singapore jurisdiction.
Correct.
Right? So you want to clamp down the biggest threat, which is these scammers out there. Right? They're scamming, I don't know, what, millions and millions every year, and the number is increasing.
So wouldn't the requirements, right, to basically be like, you know, officially recognized be a very useful tool for people who are more likely or more susceptible to be scammed or whatnot, to be like, okay, you know, I see my ex got blue check mark, right? Not assuming that you can buy for $8 lah, but you know, logically speaking, if like the government starts issuing like, hey, okay, this is like a recognized influencer, then it will be a lot easier for the people who, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And people in the digital like world now know because we are born in this industry, we are born in this day and age where we are surrounded by it. So naturally, we know how to discern right from wrong, or we have some ability lah. But more elder generation who have more to lose and who have more in general, then they will need some kind of like way to navigate this space also, no?
Actually, yes and no, right? Because recently, we also received someone, an undergraduate, said that she fell into a scam. Someone impersonated me. And someone who is an undergraduate now should be savvy, smart, intelligent enough. But you see, it's a common theme that is not limited to the elder generation.
Yeah.
Even the young ones are susceptible to all these scams.
Right.
So, and the scammers are very good nowadays,
Yep.
right? They are very innovative, very creative in getting people to just pass the money to them.
Correct.
So, I think that even whether you have like, oh, this is a blue tick guy, or this no, people are still falling to scams. So I don't have a good way.
Right.
I don't have a good way. So but I do think that this is a big problem that the government must solve. Because more people are losing to scams than actual investments.
Yep.
That's what I think.
Yep.
And it's damn silly. Because you don't even have a chance to have a goal with your investment to for the investment value to go up.
Right.
This one is outright, the moment you park your money inside, it's gone already.
Yeah.
Like 100% gone. So that's why I think that that should be the focus of the regulations rather than regulating influencers. I think, there are some irresponsible ones, but the damage is not as big as the scammers.
Talking about the kind of like the younger audience, right? Like some of my friends actually mentioned that sometimes the more of like financial influencers out there like kind of pressuring them to, not really pressuring lah, but because most of the content is about like retiring early or like like you start saving now, that kind of thing. But I think at least for my current generation, sometimes we're just like, later is also okay, that kind of thing. Then what do you think about this standpoint?
Again, it's a very common issues for every generation. It's not just the younger generation, right? Every generation will tell you to save earlier, invest earlier. I save more, invest earlier, right? This has never changed.
Right.
It will never change. And theoretically, it's true. Again, practicality wise, it's always challenging when someone starts out. The salary tends to be lower, and there are more expenses because the parents also start sponsoring your expenses, right? So you have to take care of your own budgeting and things like that, right? So you realize that, it actually not much lah. Okay, it is good that people start feeling that and considering that, yes, I need to be more responsible about money. So I think that is the key thing that people need to drive into. Right? It's not so much I must save 50% of my salary.
Right.
It's more like I need to save, and is there a way that I can be more responsible without sacrificing too much of my lifestyle? So where's the balance point, right? Once you feel that I am responsible enough, I think I've done enough for myself. Okay, so I think that is the biggest thing that people should take away from, rather than a numbers comparison. Wow, my friend is saving 5,000 a month. I'm only saving 500. I feel them inferior, right? Or he or she is gonna be richer than me, right? You never know. Maybe he or she fall into scam, then gone already. So don't compare in terms of numbers, but compare in terms of think in terms of like, I should be responsible about my money.
So is this a situation in which it falls upon the influencers to be like, hey, have you considered to be financially wise? Or should this really be integrated in as early as we can in the education system? We should talk about financial literacy.
I used to think that way, that financial literacy should be taught in school.
Yep.
Right? A very important subject that should be a core, should be exam.
Yep, right.
Right? But now my view has changed.
Okay.
I think that when we are young, when we are schooling, we take pocket money from our parents, we will not feel the need or the urgency to think about financial literacy. Right? It's more like, how much change am I supposed to get back?
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
The math in money, rather than there is a need that I need to budget, there's a need that I need to save. Right? Because you are not given that responsibility. You won't have the urgency one. It will just be another exam if you have a financial literacy. Then after that, you go up, you'll still forget about all the things that you have learned. I think financial literacy is most effective when the person starts to have his first paycheck.
Right.
When you start to you earn your own keep, you stop having sponsorship from your parents, that is where you have to be responsible. And that's where you will start to be more in tune to what financial literacy is about.
Correct, but that feels like I need to go to the toilet. Oh, it's coming out. Time to look for toilet paper.
Yeah, it is.
It feels very bad. Like, cause you see, when you go to poly, right, they always make us take sustainability mods. Right, finance literacy could be one of those, like, creative writing. I mean, come on, let's be real. How many people actually use the grading writing skills, right? If you're not in our industry, what, you're going to creatively write a manual for like your engineering products? No, right? But Wells finance literacy is like, if you're an engineer, confirm need money. If you're a philosophy people, confirm need money. If you're an influencer, you also confirm need money. So wouldn't that be better? Because now I feel that it is a wild card for the youth, right? Because the brain rot generation is very easily influenced. And if they so happen to chance upon the wrong influencer in their algo, that's their literacy education. Whoever the in charge body is to ensure that the correct influencers go to the children. Because last time when we are in my generation, right, not everybody have access to internet, right? I got my first like internet access when I was like primary 6 or something, which I still think it's a bit too early, right? But now children are like iPad kids as a toddler, no? So that means that your parents and your influencers will have half sway. If we don't regulate the industry, which we now know are full of scammers sometimes, isn't that a very dangerous move, right?
You will have to regulate a lot of things.
Correct. So wouldn't that then just be, instead of having the influencers do all the finance like explanation things, they can just do op-eds, right? But then we have the core part of financial literacy be taught, so that at least the children who go through the education then can be like, this influencer bad. This guy say funny things, Wouldn't that be
There is definitely a challenge, right? Because the online personalities will always be more interesting than the teachers in the classroom. Okay. So even if let's say you have financial literacy class lessons, right, and then after that the person go back online at home and watch financial influencer, who do you think will find more interesting? Who do you think that the person will more likely sway to? Right. So again, it's based on that, who sparked that emotional response. Not so much of who is more logically correct. Unfortunately, the world works like that.
Right.
It's like this for every generation. It is not just the young generation. It's just that in the digital world, it's more amplified because it reaches so many people at one time. In the past, it's more limited in scope, but people have always being influenced that way. Okay, emotionally. Whenever we make a transaction, it's more emotional one. Right? It's never a very logical thing that we buy or sell. Right? Even if we buy a particular, I don't know, phone or whatever, is you cook up some excuses or reasons to buy the phone. It's the reason is just that you want to buy the phone, yes. Right? It's an emotional response. So it's not an easy thing to solve, as I said. Again, it's not just about having the literacy class in school. In fact, I see that. My son is in primary 1 and he has a financial literacy module. It is not a core one. Right. It is just something that the school added. And I believe that there are many schools that do that. You can also see the government has been putting effort as well. Money Sense, there's a Finley Institute. I don't know whether you all know. That's run by Singapore Poly. Offers free classes. Whoever wants to go. Right? But again, despite all this so-called more proper conduit, people will still flock to something that's more interesting, right? Because it's just boring. Who wants to go and learn all these things, right? When I have more exciting videos to look at home, right? So it's a challenge. It's a challenge. And so by instilling the mandatory course in school, I don't think it will solve the problem 100%.
Right.
It could be part of a holistic solutioning.
Yeah,
it could be.